Hi, I'm Anita of My Chicken Eye Podcast, and wherever you are in the world, hope you have been a fabulous day. And if you're seeing this show for the very first time and you like the show, please subscribe, like, and share, and hit that notification bell so when an episode comes out, you'll be the first to know. Yes, um, I don't even know where to start, but I am really happy that I purchased a subscription from Byline Times. And the subscription comes with several articles. Not only is the expose that they are doing on the royal family a part of the subscription, um, there's a lot in there about the craziness that is happening in Great Britain, and there's a lot to learn from it. So I'm happy that I was able to purchase that subscription to be able to read about the facts on, you know, Harry and Meghan as well as the British royal family, because all these other publications that are coming up from England, I can say without a shadow of a doubt is basically opinion pieces and hit pieces on Harry and Meghan that has been um, sanctioned by the royal family, literally sanctioned by the royal family. So whatever that comes out of these really three publications that are out there, three major publications, it has been sanctioned and it is going to be hit pieces on the Sussexes. So Byland Times, they are a publication, whether your subscription is for a hard copy of their magazine that they will mail to you, or whether it's a soft copy that is digital, it's purely based on facts and not on opinions, and nothing where you're paying off somebody to give you information. It doesn't work like that. They're doing hardcore investigation, boots on the ground type of investigation, and it is appreciated. And I was proud to be able to purchase that subscription. I paid £36 for it, and when you look at the conversion from pounds to US dollars, just around $41. So I want to thank you guys who've contributed to the channel, who's watched the channel, because you all have made it possible for me to be able to get that subscription. And as I always say, that whatever that I get from you guys, or whatever I get from the channel, I always take it back and put it into my shows. And if there's an event of Harry and Meghan, I try to participate in it, like the one that Harry had with Dr. Gabor the other day. I was able to participate in that by registering and paying a fee. And whatever they're doing, wherever they are, it's my mission to put up, the funds to go there, and so that I could bring you guys the news. I could bring you guys what is happening on the ground, what I saw, what I noticed, and it's sort of like an eyewitness type of story. So I'm just grateful for you guys. Thank you so much for your support of this channel. It is appreciated. And yes, I would love to show you the articles, but I just want to maintain the integrity of this subscription, because what happens is that Byland Times, they're not getting funded by advertisement and what have you. There's none of that in their publication. So the only way that they're making money is from their subscription from the public. So I want to make sure that people continue to subscribe. If they don't subscribe, they can buy the articles, and the articles are about £3 or so that they can continue their hard work in exposing the British media, as well as the corrupt politics and politicians that is in England, as well as exposing the royal family, because they are a farce. They are just a terrible institution that claims to care about people and their well-being, when in reality they do not care about anybody else but themselves, and you know just luxuriating in taxpayers' money. And it's a shame that the British people, some of them do sit, but not a lot of them are calling for the termination of the British royal family. It's about time that people start protesting, putting boots on the ground and start protesting, and letting their local politicians know how they feel about the British royal family. Because after reading the article from Byline Times, that they wrote about the truth about why Harry and Meghan left the United Kingdom after, literally Megxit, the truth about Megxit. It just tells me everything that I need to know about the royal family. And most of it, we already in the Sussex Squad knew a lot about, how Harry and Meghan, they were literally abused, I would say, because there's different types of abuse. There is emotional abuse, there's social abuse, there's all types of financial abuse. There's so many types of abuse. Okay, they didn't beat them physically, but you can hurt somebody emotionally, and you can hurt somebody financially, you can hurt somebody socially. You can isolate them, you could make them feel unprotected, and so on. And all of that, sums up to abuse. So Byland Times really told me that Charles, he doesn't really behave in any paternal way. Neither does William behave in any brotherly way. Neither is the royal family a family. Let's just take family out of those people over there, because they are not family. They are worse than animals. And the reason why I say they're worse than animals is because when you look at nature, when an animal has its young, what does it do? It protects its young. It fends off any type of unwanted invasion, any type of unwanted attack. It protects its young against. It makes sure that its young needs are met. And I see nothing of that based on this article and all what I have, seen in the past and heard of Charles. I see nothing like that in him. He has absolutely no paternal instinct at all. He is worse than an animal, because animals, they try to protect their offsprings, they try to protect their young. Charles is doing none of that. Instead of protecting them, what does he do? He takes them and he throws them to the wolves so that they can get eaten up and destroyed. That is the type of man that this Charles, so-called King of England, is. He is no king. He will never be king in my sight. The way that he has treated Harry and Meghan, he has chosen others, outsiders, non-family members, over his own son. People, listen to that. Think about that. This man has chosen an outsider that is not even related to him, an employee, over his own child. And not only that, he wanted his child to be a servant, to work for him, to maintain and to keep up appearances in that royal family. They wanted to take everything out of Harry and Meghan. They see that would benefit them. But on the other side of things, they didn't want to do anything that would be able to keep them healthy, to make sure that they had a good mental state. They didn't care about that. They didn't care about the physical. All they cared about is what they could get out of them. They didn't care about their mental state. They didn't care about their health. They didn't care about their financial state. They didn't care about anything else. And now I see why Charles, ruthless and cruel Charles, would literally take away the only safe place in England for Harry and Meghan to stay when they do come over to England and have some type of engagement. They took Frogmore Cottage away from them, and I am certainly not surprised that Charles did that. Charles and William and the rest of the clan did that, because guess what? They chose somebody else, a stranger, over Harry and Meghan. And let me just get into the whole gist of the story. So it turns out that this man that was working for William and Kate, he had inside knowledge of what was going on in the royal family. And with that inside knowledge, I believe, based on Byland Times reporting, that he wanted to make money off of that information, and possibly, because Byland Times didn't say William's role in it, but I believe that at the end of the day, that these different courtiers, these different segments in the royal family, you have Kate and William, you have Harry and Meghan, the senior members, you have Charles and Camilla, you have those different factors. They all are trying to outshine each other. They see Harry and Meghan new on the scene. They see they're getting a lot of attention. They see they're doing very good. They see their royal tour was popular. So what do they decide? They wanted to keep Harry and Meghan in their place. They wanted to make sure that Harry and Meghan did not outshine Kate and William. Although it can take anything to outshine them, because they're really not doing anything. They're not an attractive couple. They are boring. Period. They're boring. Okay? And so what they were trying to do is make sure that Harry and Meghan was seen negatively in the newspaper. So what did they do? They used the newspaper. They used that press secretary that they had to transfer information to Dan Wootton, and this information was transferred through Kristen Jones, who was Kate and William's secretary, to transfer information from Kristen Jones, Kate and William's press secretary, to his partner. His partner now sold those information that he had gotten from Kate and Williams' office to Dan Wootton at the Sun, when Dan Wootton was at the Sun. So now here is Harry and Meghan, frustrated and tired of all what is going on. They know that they are not safe. They are bombarded by the press. The press is getting information on them that is personal, that nobody would know other than if you were in the royal family. So they're tired of it. They're hounded. They don't have any peace. So they want to take a break. And here they're negotiating with Charles in Sandringham and William and, the then queen, the late queen. They want to negotiate a way where they could spend 12 months of the year, a trial separation, where they would be in Canada and then they would come back to the United Kingdom. But at the end of the day, they need security. Harry has been part of the royal family from the time that he was born. That's all he knows. He's a high profile figure. So therefore, he cannot walk the street like anybody else. He needs to be protected. He literally, it's not everybody that likes the royal family. People, they would like to make us believe that the royal family is loved globally, but they're not loved globally. People are very resentful of the royal family. People believe that the royal family should not be in existence. People should, earn their way through life based on merit, one, and they should earn their way through life based on working, actually working. Whatever they have, it should be earned. So a lot of people believe in that, and a lot of people don't believe in the royal family, and a lot of people want to see them be gone, and a lot of people want to hurt them. So, and Harry is no exception. A lot of people want to hurt him. So here he is with a £3 million a year cost to provide security for him. Here Charles and William and the Queen and what have you, whoever it is negotiating with Harry's team, where they would be able to go off to Canada, and for a trial separation, to get away from all of what is happening. And they were going to give them £700,000 so that they could settle in, so that they could get comfortable and have something to live off. Because remember, Harry and Meghan were working for the royal family. They didn't have jobs. They don't have outside job. Their job is the royal family, so they have to be paid. Somebody may say, well, why do they need the $700,000? They need it. They need the $700,000 because they ain't got no job. That's their job. The royal family is their job. They sacrifice. They put off their own personal life to sacrifice for the royal family. So they deserve that money to get started wherever they're going to get started. So now Harry found out that that Christian Jones, William and Kate's press secretary, was the person that was, paying, getting, his partner was getting money, or the information was being transferred out of the royal family through Christian Jones to Dan Wootton, to the front page of the Sun. So Harry and his lawyer, they created a letter, letting the Sun, putting the Sun literally a notice that they were going to sue them, and they mentioned Christian Jones's name in the letter. Now, Charles had a problem. Charles has always been afraid to do what is right. They protect the monarchy more than they protect their self, more than they protect their children. Why are you worried about somebody who is working for you going up against the not going up against the press, but having to have a story or a court case where somebody within the royal family is funneling information that he in his head, that would look so bad. So instead of really getting down to the bottom of things and saying, well, this should not be happening, let's get rid of this guy and let us make sure that everybody knows this is what this guy was doing, if he was so innocent. But he really wasn't innocent, because as I said, that information was being passed down deliberately. It was being passed down on purpose. Okay, so at the end of the day, Harry refused to remove Christian Jones' name from the letter to the Sun. And, Charles be thinking that it was going to create a big hullabaloo, and, it wasn't going to be a good look to have, a litigation with, somebody working for the royal family with the press, and all of that, worried about all of this nonsense. And this is what that has and will be the downfall of the British royal family, the press. So Harry stood his ground and said, no, the name is staying, and we're going to send this letter, okay, with the name in it. Christian Jones' name is going to be in it, and people are going to know that the stories that are coming out of the coming from the Sun is coming directly from the royal family. So he said, absolutely, it's going to stay. So and one of the things that is so admirable, and I was reading this, and I said, you have to admire Harry. They've called this man all kinds of names in the book. They've called him dumb. They've called him this. They've called him everything. But what he does have is integrity. Harry has integrity. He stood up and he says, no, I am going to be an honorable man. I'm going to stand up for what is right. And I'm not going to be persuaded. And I don't care how much money is on the table. I am not going to be persuaded. I am going to do what is right. And somebody has to be accountable. And he said no. And because he said no, what did Charles do? Charles decided to cut him off. Now, he was cut him and Meghan off. So now he was going to be out there without any money to pay for security, any money to pay for his family, to upkeep his family for the time that they were going to be out there. Now, and in the back of their head now, the article said, is that at the end of the day, they would be so stranded. And this is not the first time we're hearing that. They would be so stranded, they would be so lost out there that they would have no choice but to come back to the royal family and make the royal family look good. Because at the end of the day, Harry is married to Meghan. Meghan is a woman of color. And for the longest time, people have been saying this royal family does not represent the general population. This royal family looks segregated. They are not integrated. They do not represent the general population. They do not represent what people out there look like. Okay? So they love the idea that Meghan was in the royal family, but they didn't love the idea that Meghan and Harry was getting all the press. Harry and Meghan was being popular. The public really loved Harry and Meghan. So but what they did not know at the end of the day, that Harry and Meghan would have found a way to, to stand on their own feet and make a living so that they can take care of their children right now. Initially, they only had Archie, that they would find a way to take care of, their family and to buy a home and to live comfortable. So now, you don't have money. Harry, all he knows is charity. Meghan left her acting career. It's hard to get into acting in Hollywood. It's already hard when you're there, much as for when you have left and you're coming back and you're saying, give me a job. Nobody wants to listen to you, but you do have a story, so you can tell your story. So Byline Times said, all of that forced Harry and Meghan to take on all those commercial deals that they took on with Spotify and Netflix and what have you. They had no choice. They had to earn a living. And people get mad at them because Harry wrote his book and they told their truth. They brought truth to power. People get mad at them, but no, they were forced into that. They had to earn a living and they had their story. So they told their story. And I may say, the story probably would have never been heard if it was not for Charles's selfish behavior. If Charles wasn't so selfish and William and Kate wasn't so jealous, nobody would never know what was going on in that family. Okay? So if anybody to blame, it's Charles, it's Kate, it's William, and the courtiers and their advisors, because they got ill advice and they underestimated Harry and Meghan and they lost. Harry and Meghan played them, they lost. Okay? So anyways, that's what Byline Times said. And whistleblowers sometimes you have people that are working for you and you don't know the type of people that are really working for you, but and people always look down on whistleblowers, but whistleblowers are literally heroes. They are heroes because they're the one that will stand up for what is right. So apparently those whistleblowers at the Sun, they were working I think it's two individuals. They were very vague about who these two individuals were to protect their privacy. So, they apparently noticed that there were large sums of cash. And this is how all of this came to light. And people started noticing who this money was being paid off to from the son, large sums of money, although the son was in some type of situation before where they were not supposed to pay, money for stories anymore. They were, if they were going to do, have stories or get stories, they were going to do it using real investigation, real journalistic tools. That's what they were going to do to be able to get, the stories that they published, because they had problems before with paying for stories. And so these two whistleblowers at the Sun end up noticing that Dan Wooden was paying, and a lot of people, if you don't know Dan Wooden, Violent Times did a huge investigation on Dan Wooden, and found out that he was catfishing. The person that you see on television is not the person that he is. He's an alleged bully, a blackmailer, and just allegedly a disgusting person. The things he did, to unsuspecting people and to people with less power than him and people that are in need, is abominable. But anyways, these two whistleblowers noticed that Dan Wooden was paying an individual directly from the palace. So they thought that this was wrong, and the stories apparently that were coming out from the palace was private and it was not fair. So mind you, all of a sudden, Dan Wooden, who the things that he was more geared towards in the past was William, writing about William. He didn't like William, and he apparently liked Harry. But I don't know, I cannot believe Dan Wooden would ever like Harry or anybody, for matter of fact. Everything that he does it in his own interest. So all of a sudden, here Dan Wooden is, he was an executive editor at the Sun, and he was mostly into show business, and he shifted from show business to the royal family, and here there's money being exchanged. This is how all the story unfolded according to Byline Times. They noticed that there was a lot of money being exchanged for stories, and the stories that were coming out, the whistleblowers felt like that story was unfair. It was coming directly from the palace. So the News of the World, I think, is the defunct News of the World. In the past, there was a person who literally brought them to their knees. I think it was a journalist from The Guardian. So these two whistleblowers took the information that they got from the Sun, all the payments, all the records and what have you, and they sent it to that individual, and that individual looked at it and said, wow, that reporter from The Guardian, they even describe him as somebody that gets a lot of information. But when he saw that information and it was coming directly from the royal family, he couldn't not resist but to get back into this whole thing that he had vowed that he wasn't ever going to be a part of anymore, that whole investigative thing, and and stuff like that, because he had done, he had dealt with it with this big newspaper that sort of collapsed. I think the News of the World collapsed. So when he saw that, he says, oh, this something has to be done about it. So he sent it to Scotland Yard, and he notified the lawyers at the palace. And so they decided that, I'm just saying, now the cat is out of the bag, they have to do something. So they decided that they were going to do an internal investigation. But any internal investigation that takes place in the royal family is like somebody taking something and putting it down, spending time filing their nails, going to get a cup of coffee, doing whatever they're doing, and letting time pass, and then just writing up a report and say, boom, yes, we investigated and here's our result. Nothing, absolutely nothing, or something they never even self-released. They said they were investigating bullying against Meghan. I bet you see, they didn't investigate anything. And if they investigated, they found that it was the other way around, and they never released it. That's what they do. So they took somebody in the royal family, of course, They didn't take an outsider. They took somebody in the royal family by the name of Simon Case, who worked for the royal family, and he was the one that was tasked with the responsibility of investigating the cash for story at the Sun. Okay, cash for information on Harry and Meghan at the Sun. So when he did all his investigation, by the way, this same Simon Case is now part of I don't know which government in England they are. It's Tory and some other thing. I don't know how their government system is structured, but now he's part of the. He works as some political person, and I think he's in that COVID scandal with Boris Johnson. Very messy people, but yes. So he investigated, and then he found out that Christian Jones knows Dan Wootton, and Christian Jones' partner knows Dan Wootton, but they're not friends, and blah 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 blah. And but it turned out that they actually were friends, because there was a piece of evidence that Time found. They found a picture of Dan Wootton with Christian Jones and the partner celebrating Dan Wootton's, I think it's 34th or 35th birthday. I'm not sure. I don't have the document. All I have here, all I have on my paper right now is just the names, because I want to keep track of the names. Yes, because I had like COVID brain. You know, when you have COVID, you get COVID brain. You don't remember a lot of things, and then you try to, I don't know if you guys saw my last video, that I posted. That's why I haven't posted anything, because I was becoming very forgetful, like I had fog on my brain. But anyways, so I was saying that the Guardian, not the Guardian informed the royal family of what was going on, and Christian say that he didn't know Dan Wootton, blah 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 blah, and then Simon Case, who took on the investigation, that he was working for the royal family at that time, also concluded that there was no link between Dan Wootton, Christian Jones, and Christian Jones's partner. So, but leave it to Byline Times to find something. So in the end, they saw a picture on Instagram, on Dan Wootton's Instagram account itself, where he posted his 34th or 35th birthday celebration, and only 20 people were invited. 20 close friends were invited. And so if you're only inviting Dan Wootton, who knows so many people, and he invited 20 close friends, and Christian Jones and Christian Jones' partner was there. So which in an exclusive place they went, which means that he knows them. He knows them in a personal capacity, to the point where he can invite them to his birthday celebration. Okay, and to spend all this, you don't just spend all this money. They eat whatever they want to eat, they drink whatever they want to eat. They weren't just really $1,600 to $1,700 a night suite at some fancy hotel. You don't just bring anybody there. The people you bring there are people that you really, really know. So anyways, Byline Time found this picture. So it proved Simon Case to be a liar, that and as well as Christian Jones to be a liar, that he indeed knew Dan Wootton. Indeed, he was close to Dan Wootton. So they all lied at the end of the day. Although Simon Case, who was investigating for the royal families, concluded that there was no connection, and Christian Jones denied any connection to Dan Wootton, or not deny any connection, because he did say that they knew of each other. They were sort of traveling in the same circle, but they were not friends. And so Simon Case lied, of course, Of course, they never investigated anything, because here's a picture with Christian Jones' partner, and Dan Wootton at this fancy hotel celebrating Dan Wootton's birthday. So Violent Times came up with the evidence that it's a lie, that actually they were familiar with each other. And where there's smoke, they said, there's always fire. Okay? Just saying. So, Harry got wind of all of that, and Harry decided to, with his lawyer, that they're going to put the son on notice, and that's where everything started. That's where Harry and Meghan decided that they had had enough, and they were out of there, and they left. They left the royal family, and yes, so that's a lot, and there's going to be more stories to tell. There's going to be more stories, and we're just waiting to see what Byline comes out with as they go along telling their stories. And one of the things they said, and I've always said, that people around the world actually love Harry and Meghan, but the royal family literally is working with the press to send out negative stories about Harry and Meghan, and to make them look bad out there, like they're not loved, like they're not good people. So that is a design, by design, of the British press, by the the sanctioning, I would say, the sanctioning. The royal family has sanctioned, those hate articles, those smear campaigns on Harry and Meghan. But Harry and Meghan is not, I repeat, they're not hated globally, they're loved. But if the algorithm, they said, that you're seeing out there on, every time you open up your phone, or you go on Twitter, or you go somewhere, on social media, you just keep seeing negative things about Harry and Meghan. It was designed that way, for people to get the impression that Harry and Meghan are bad people, they're hated globally, but it is not true. And I've always said that everybody who's ever met Harry and Meghan says how lovely they are, how kind they are, and what we're seeing out there in the press. That's why we shouldn't even self-click on those clickbaits itself. What we're seeing out there is just designed to smear Harry and Meghan, and to report positively in favor of the royal family. But as I say, and I have been saying, they will never win. The truth always comes out. Whatever happens in the dark always comes out to the light. I bet they thought that this story was never going to see the light of day. Literally, Harry spared them. Harry spared them in his book. Ooh, Harry spared them in spear. Look, a play on word here. So maybe there's more to come. Omid book is coming out, I believe, on November 27th, if I'm not wrong. His book is coming out on November 27th. So there's going to be more to tell, and on that royal family. So they better brace themselves, because right now it's just not a good look for them. Things are looking really bad for this monarchy. And yeah, what Meghan has had to put up with these people, I can only imagine Meghan, young mother with her little baby Archie, and living, and not knowing where they're going to be, and yeah, very sad. But God had other plans, absolutely. When one door closes, God opens several more doors. God had other plans, and look at them. They in Montecito, in a 19,000 square foot home. I believe it's about 12 to 14 acres. I'm not too sure of the numbers, but God gave them more space than they can ever use, more money that they will ever use in a lifetime. Because what the press would like us to believe is that Harry and Meghan are broke. They don't have money. but they did make a lot of money with the information that they had and their talent, Megan's talent on her podcast. So yes, they're doing fine and they're going to do even better. There's just so much in the works that I believe that we do not know that is coming Harry and Meghan's way, and which they will reveal to us when they're ready. I said a lot. I had a lot to say, but I just decided I wasn't ready yet to be in front of the camera because I feel like I had like this headspace after I got sick, and I feel like I didn't want to sound like an idiot when I'm not. I didn't want to be judged that way. Okay, so anyways, if I miss anything, I will bring back another video, and I'll do a live tomorrow. It will just be a pop-up live, and if you see it, you see it. If you don't see it, don't worry, you'll see it when it's posted. But yes, that's all for now. Yeah, I stayed a long time, and the story is unfolding. Now we know exactly what went down, and it was all because of jealousy, all because of the need for the royal family, to be propped up by Harry and Meghan, because they have absolutely nothing going for them. Without Harry and Meghan, they're nobody. Nobody's talking about them. They're dull and boring. So they needed Harry and Meghan to bring attention and to them. Isn't that something? So take care. I hope I said everything. Bye.